Welcome back to the Love 'em or Lose 'em YouTube channel. I'm Patrick Bailey.
I'm Mark Bailey.
And today we're going to talk about the friend of the court again and child support, but an option that people oftentimes discuss, and that is we don't want to deal with the friend of the court. We want to do this on our own. So what does that look like, Mark?
Yeah, we are dealing with the friend of the court a lot in these last segments, and I think it's because there's a lot of misconceptions about what the friend of the court does or doesn't do and what their role is. And the friend of the court is there to enforce orders, whether it's child support or parenting time or orthodontic bills. They're there to sort of provide a buffer so that you don't have to go to the judge every single time. You have an avenue of potentially getting your case resolved with the least amount of expense. So there's a lot of misconceptions about what the friend of the court does or doesn't do, and as a result of that, people say, I don't want to go through the friend of the court. I don't want to pay child support through the friend of the court. And so they ask us about opting out. What does opting out really mean, though?
Yeah, so when you opt out of the friend of the court, it's some additional paperwork, not a big deal, but what that means is you have no enforcement mechanism buffer. You don't have the friend of the court to collect child support payments, or you're filing parenting time violations because so-and-so didn't show up at the parenting time exchange. The friend of the court would do that for you if you had your order through them. But if you opt out, now all of a sudden you have to file a motion to get in front of the judge, right? So your buffer period and your buffer mechanism of having the friend of the court is no longer there to collect your child support or enforce your parenting time. And so we really only recommend it to a select group of clients, wouldn't you say?
Well, I think that select group of clients means that the parents in those situations have to be absolutely on the same page. I'll give you a horror story. I had a client one time who said, I don't want to pay through the friend of the court. Well, as Patrick said, the friend of the court collects support, but they also keep a record of the payments. So there's no dispute. There's no misunderstanding. So I had a client adamant, wanted to pay the spouse directly, the ex-spouse directly. Made the payments directly through check, sometimes even cash, if you can believe that. And what happened when they had a falling out? She claimed that he owed a large sum of back support. My client claimed that he was paid in full. Court says, I don't know who paid what. So the friend of the court keeping track, so to speak, of that kind of payment plan or schedule does have its merit. So if you pay outside of the friend of the court, my recommendation is make sure there is a electronic trail. And if that means going from your bank to the ex-spouse's bank account, we have a bank record showing the amount paid. So just paying outside the friend of the court can cause a lot of problems if you're not careful.
Yeah, and the last thing is if you opt out of the friend of the court, you can always opt back in.
And if you are a party that will file actions to get in front of the judge, the news is the judge will put you back into the friend of the court because they don't want to hear your issues directly if it's something that the friend of the court is equipped to deal with.
Yep, so it's good in theory. It only works with a select group of clients. So that's Mark and I's take on opting out of the friend of the court. Hope you enjoyed. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and check back in next week.
Hey, we'll talk soon. Have a great weekend.